welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Patri, and in today's video I'm going to talk about all the books that I read this month. I read a total of 15 books this month, and I read different genres. I'm heavy on romance, but I try to sparkle in some fantasy and thriller when I'm in the mood for it. So the first book I read this month was actually one physical copy, and it was The Serpent and Wings of Night. I'm not going to go into detail about the books that I've read. I'm just going to tell you that I really loved it. I tapped it a lot. I already bought the second book, and I read the novella this month also. So The Serpent and Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent is a book about vampires. It's a fantasy book, and you have a tournament. It gives off the Hunger Games vibes. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. I give it a 4.5 stars. Then the next book that I read is The Two of Us. This book is a romance book about a girl that moves back to her childhood home in her childhood neighborhood, obviously, because her dad is dying and she wants to be with him for these last moments of his life. And the next door neighbor is still the kid that used to live next to her. They used to be friends when they were little. You don't know why they don't speak anymore. So you get a past and a present timeline to get to know why they are not friends anymore. So yes, it was really cute. I give it a 4.5 stars. I cried a lot. Then the next book that I read was also a physical copy. It's the second book in the Addicted series. Right now I'm reading the third one. I'm obsessed with this series. It's a reread. I already read all the books, but I wanted to have the physical copies because I read them on my Kindle, so I've just been buying them with the new covers, well, when they come out. So basically I'm going to tell you what the first book is about, because if not, it's spoiler. But it's about these two friends that are in a fake relationship to not show their families the problems that they have, and basically he's an alcoholic and she's a sex addict, and this series is about their story. It's a reread, but it's a 5 stars, and it's written by Krista and Becca Ritchie. They're sisters, I guess, but I love their books. Then I read 3 Mariana Zapata books. I read Wait for It, then I reread From Look Up With Love, and then I read Dear Aaron. Wait for It is about a girl that is the legal guardian of her 2 nephews because her brother died, so she moves into this neighborhood and she keeps bumping into his neighbor in different situations. I'm going to leave it at that. Then I give it a 4.5 stars. Then I reread From Look Up With Love, a 5 stars. This book is about 2 figure skaters that pair up together for 1 year of championships, and they supposedly hate each other. Then the next book that I read by her is Dear Aaron, that goes before From Look Up With Love. The book is about the sister of the main character from Look Up With Love. She basically signs up to this webpage where you get paired up with someone from the military. In this case, I think he's a Marine or something, and you basically send each other emails back and forth, or letters or whatever, and she gets paired up with this man that doesn't answer her every time she sends him something. So when she tells him like, okay, you're not answering, so I'm just going to switch partners, like ask for someone else. And he's like, no, wait. And basically the first half of the book is them sending emails back and forth, but I really enjoyed that part of the book specifically. I gave this book a 4.75 stars. I really liked it. Then I read the novella from The Serpent and Wings of Night. It's really short, less than 200 pages, I think, but the story has nothing to do with the main characters. I think they're introducing characters that you're going to see on the second book of the series, so you get their backstory in this novella, I'm guessing, because I haven't read the second book yet. So it's basically about this girl that lives in a town where there's an illness that is killing everyone. So she goes to the house of a vampire because she's a human, and she wants to make a deal with him she said she's going to give him one rose every time she visits him, and in exchange she wants his blood to do some experiments and try to save her people. That's everything I can tell you about this little novella. Then I read a thriller. So I've read 2 fantasies so far, and then the next one I'm going to talk about is a thriller, and all the others are romances. I read A Flicker in the Dark by Stacey Willingham. I guess it's pronounced like that, I'm not really sure. This book is about a girl that when she was 12 years old, her father was put into prison because he's a serial killer basically. And fast forward 20 years, in the new town she's living in, the same, like some girls start missing in the same way they used to when her father was out of jail, so she starts investigating about it, and the book's about that. I couldn't sleep for 2 or 3 nights after reading that book, but it was good. I gave it a 4 stars. Then I read, oh, I'm so excited, I just love this series. I read Reckless, that is the 4th book from the Chestnut Springs series. I'm so excited for the next one, I can't wait. I want all the physical copies, but I think they're going to take the special editions that have the mirrors out of the market, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to buy them, but I hope I can because I just love them so much. So I don't want to spoil anything because they're interconnected standalones, but each book follows a different couple. But this book is about Winter, which is the sister from the main character from the first book, and her life just blew up, so she decided to move to Chestnut Springs, and she meets Theo, which is related, he's like friends with the family of the male main character in the first book. And yeah, I don't want to say anything else about that. I give this book a 4.5 stars. It's my favorite along with Heartless. And this I read for a book because I read my highest and my lowest rated books on Goodreads. This one was my highest, and then I read my lowest, which is To Get to the Other Side by, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly, by Kelly Allert. This book has a funny plot. This woman starts chasing a chicken in the street because obviously there's a chicken on the street, and she's like friends with animals, so she wants to help her eat, and she takes it home, but her landlord doesn't let her have pets, so she needs to move out. And here comes the main male character into the story. His sisters put an ad on a newspaper, I guess, saying that there's a room for rent on his house, and at the end he ends up saying yes, and she stays with him and with a chicken. This book was like, the plot seemed nice, but I got bored, so I just give it a 3 stars. I had fun in some parts, but it's not a book that I'm going to think about anytime soon. Then I read, I did have the physical copy of From Look with Love. The first time I read it was on my Kindle, but then I decided I wanted the physical copy because it's one of my favorite books of all time, as you can see. So I just bought the physical copy and I read it this way. Then I read Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. This is the 2nd book in the Part of Your World series. They're interconnected standalones. I love interconnected standalones. And basically this book is about the best friend of the female main character from Part of Your World. She's an ear doctor. ER, not ear doctor. She's an ER doctor, and basically she's going to get this promotion to be, I guess, chief of the ER, and he comes into the hospital, he's new, and they tell her that he's also running for the position. They start with a really bad impression, so he decides to write her a letter, and it's such a beautiful letter, and they start exchanging letters. I don't know, it's so cute. I guess it could be trigger warning, but just in case, I'm going to say it. He has social anxiety, and it's like a heavy topic on the book, so if you don't want to read about that, I guess don't read it. But I also have social anxiety, and reading about someone that has social anxiety and the way his mind works that's really similar to mine, and how he feels in certain situations was like really nice. I gave this book a 4.75, but no, 4.5, but I think it's more of a 5-star because I really liked it and I think about it a lot, and I don't know, it's just, I love Abby Jimenez. I want to read her other series. If I'm looking over here, it's because I have my reading journal to see what I read. Then I read Crimson River by Daphne Perry. This is the 5th book from the Edens series. I really enjoyed this series, but I must say that this one was not my favorite book. I really liked it. I gave it a 4 stars, but it wasn't that interesting for me. I didn't feel like the connection between the two main characters. I don't know if my mindset while I was reading this book wasn't the correct one to be reading it, but I enjoyed it, but the other ones are way better. So basically this book is about Lila. Every book is about one of the siblings of the Edens, and this one was specifically about Lila. And this one and the first one have like mystery in them because they're trying to find a man that tried to strangle her while she was on a walk. So I like that they have like subgenres inside the romance. And then I read another Mariana Zapata book. I was really liking Mariana Zapata this month. Well, I always like her, but I try to spread all her books throughout the different months, because I'm going to end up not having anything else to read from her, and that's going to be really sad. But well, I read Luna and the Lie. This book is about Luna, obviously. She works in a car shop. She does the paint jobs, and she has 2 bosses. One is the main boss, the one that has always been her boss. She's been working there for a decade, and I don't remember his name really, but then there's another one that came into the picture like 3 years ago. His name is Ripley, and well, his surname is Ripley. He's Lucas Ripley, and he's like super grumpy, and she doesn't like when people don't like her, so she's trying super hard for him to like her, and she helped her with something. We don't get to know what at the beginning of the book. You have to read like half of the book to get to know what she did for him, but basically he's all the time telling her like, what favor do you want, what favor do you want, because he thinks like he owes her. I really enjoyed it. I enjoy all of Mariana Zapata's books. I give it a 4 stars. Then I read Offside by Avery Killam. I'm not sure if you pronounce it like that. Sorry if anything that I pronounce is not the correct way to say it, but I've never heard these surnames or names, so I have no idea. This is a hockey romance, really simple. This girl gets dumped by her boyfriend that is a hockey player on her university, and she starts seeing a hockey player from the rival university she's also a hockey player, and I think he's the captain. So yeah, I really liked it at the moment when I was reading it, but I've read so many hockey romances that I always compare them between each other, and this one wasn't the best. I give it a 3 stars. I don't think I'm going to think about it anytime soon. And the last book that I read this month, I was super excited for this read because I love Ali Hazelwood. I've loved all of her books, and Love Theoretically came out this month, so I read it and I loved it. All of her books are women in STEM. I don't really want to explain anything about this book because I just loved going into it blind and finding out all these things that I guess you could get spoiled reading the synopsis. So I'm not going to say what this book is about, just of a woman in STEM, but I liked it a lot. It was really fun. I also didn't like the ending. It was lacking something, I don't know, it was too fast. But I gave it a 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. I hope you like this video. If you have any videos you want to see, you can leave suggestions down in the comments. If you want to see more real life updates, you can follow me on my Instagram, and I'll see you next time. Bye!